On today's show, what's the best animated movie of this year so far? Will Avengers 4 have a post-credit scene? And is Michael Douglas really going to play Bossk? I don't know, I just made that up. Movie Talk starts right now.
Let's go, bro.
I could see Michael Douglas pulling out maybe Bossk's dad.
Sure.
We can see that. Why are we talking about Bossk or animated movies or adventures or anything else? Well, it's because it's a very special all-Twitter episode of Collider Movie Talk. Welcome to the show. Happy Veterans Day, especially to all of our veterans out there currently watching us here, abroad, wherever you may be. Mark Riley is joining me, and we have the privilege of being joined by a veteran of the armed forces, none other than the outlaw himself, Mr. John Roca. Thank you for your service. I don't say it enough. We appreciate everything you do, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you for wearing that shirt. I appreciate everything you do. You know, when you're out there and you're knee deep in the, you like those entertainers to come and make you laugh. And, you know, Mark Ellis is one of those great ones who does make you laugh. So thanks for being a veteran of those tours there, Mark.
Yeah, they gave me a nice spiffy shirt and a hat for the USO. Love going over there. Hope to go back soon. I'm happy to be the Bob Hope of this generation.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not as funny. I've never carried a golf club on stage before.
Right.
Doctor.
Or walked out with
Hope I don't get sick.
Marilyn Monroe. Like those were the times. Those were the days.
It is an all Twitter, but let me start with this because this is coming from my brain, and I'll get your take on this too, Riley. But Roca, I don't want to limit it to just to like war movies, but is there one movie that stands out that really encapsulates the whole experience of being in the military more accurately than anything else you've ever seen? What's the film that stands out the most where you could watch it and somebody who's been through basic training, who's been overseas, who's been through everything that the military could throw at somebody? What is the movie that you're like, that's what it feels like?
You know what? I don't know if a movie is the right thing. Band of Brothers is a fantastic, real breakdown of what it's like. I mean, yes, it's the 1940s. Yes, it's World War II. But that camaraderie, the ball busting, the care for the guys, all of that is there. The Hurt Locker has some really incredible scenes about being over in a theater of war. And I would say Full Metal Jacket is a real nice presentation, uncomfortably true about what basic training is like, no matter what area of the military you're in. Wow. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of like punishing other people for your mistakes, but it's also about coming together as a unit and achieving something collectively and individually.
And an iconic performance by the late, great Arlie Ermy in that movie, Full Metal Jacket. Mark Riley, you're more of a Pauly Shore in the Army now guy.
Never has a statement been so accurate.
Is there one that stands out to you that you're like, I bet that's what it's like?
I always saw Full Metal Jacket. When you're watching the first, what is that? The first hour of the film, it seems. It's grinding, and I'm watching that thing going, I don't know if I'd last. I mean, that is some crazy stuff going on there, and I might hide a donut in my locker as well because my God, those guys. Yeah. So I was wondering if you would say that because that's a crazy thing to like think about.
Yeah, I saw it before I went into basic.
Oh wow!
And I was a tubby guy at the time, still somewhat, but like back then, it was the fear I had that I would be a private pilot, that I would get the soap party, all that stuff. So I was constantly vigilant that I wouldn't end up being that guy. And I didn't, but it was still something scary when you're going into, and it was very reflective of the experience. I think Jarhead's another one that we should throw in the mix too. Yeah. Jarhead's a nice, fantastic analysis of what it's like there during theater of war.
And that's John Roca. He did not end up being the Dewey Oxberger of his unit, although Stripes, pretty funny. Maybe not accurate, pretty funny movie about joining the Army. Well, we have been soliciting your live Twitter questions for about the last week or so. We know we wanted to do this on Veterans Day for everybody out there watching on this beautiful Monday afternoon. So now we kick off with our first Twitter question. It comes from Paul Gaston. No one tweets like Gaston. No one tweets like Gaston. All right, easy boys. It's going to be a long day. What's been your favorite animated movie of the year so far? So not Beauty and the Beast. Didn't come out this year. Yeah. What's your favorite animated movie of this year so far, and what are you looking forward to the most next year? Mark Riley, kicking off with you. Your favorite animated flick of this year, and what do you think it's going to be next year?
This year, Incredibles 2. Absolutely. I love the movie so much. You wonder how Pixar keeps doing it with their sequels, but The Incredibles was the one movie everybody wanted to see because it's a superhero movie. So perfect, right? Brad Bird waits a long time, but then has that idea. And I love the expansion of the mythology of the supers in that world, but I love how the family dynamic continued to be interesting. So that movie is great. One of my favorites of the year, animated or otherwise. Next year, I know there's Toy Story 4 coming out. I know there's Pixar, but I'm a How to Train Your Dragon kind of guy.
You love that movie.
I love that movie. I love the soundtrack. I love the score by John Powell. The Hidden World, How to Train Your Dragon. The trailers look great. Toothless is going to get a girlfriend, it looks like.
There'll be a lot of dragon sex.
A lot of dragon sex, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I was talking about Hiccup hooking up with the dragons. I thought the dragon's name was Hiccup, so would have lost that 2 points in the Schmoedown. Somebody very familiar to competing under the white hot spotlight of the movie trivia Schmoedown. John Roca, best animated movie of the year.
I have to agree with Riley. Incredibles 2 was my favorite so far of the year, but I've got a feeling that Into the Spider-Verse may supersede it.
Oh, yeah.
From what I'm hearing from Dorian and other people who've seen early screenings of it, that with unfinished animation on it, that spoke about what their experience was like watching it. What we saw in Hall H was incredible. But Incredibles 2, as a film I've seen, is fantastic. So much going on here, so much exploration of the dynamics of a family, but also the gender dynamics that are involved that are going on now currently in our society are explored in that film. And then we get so much more with Jack Jack. That Jack Jack raccoon scene, maybe one of the top 5 scenes in any animated film ever, just for humor and inventiveness and fun. And overall, I just think I like the vibe of it and what it ends up talking to us also about our social media, our attachment to all our electronics, what that says about us overall as well. And you ask about what we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, what do you got? What's on your animated movie docket?
Toy Story 4 is certainly the one for me. I absolutely love that franchise. I revisited. One of the rare Pixar films that I buy are the Toy Story ones. And because to go back and revisit them whenever you feel like it, it's just nice to go back into that world every once in a while.
Really? That's what you got your eye on for Best Buy Black Friday? You're going in and looking at the deals for Pixar Blu-rays, huh?
If they have those in 4K, I'm going to get all of them.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to have them in 4K animation. They're fantastic. But Toy Story 4, because I'm curious also, will they get it right? Because 3 was a perfect ending to that franchise. You didn't need anything more.
Andy going off to college.
Yep. Handing the toys off. They survive, all hold hands and survive being burned. God. Like that whole thing.
What's Andy now? Just some punk-ass 25-year-old moving back in with his parents? Come on, Andy, get a job.
He's probably starting his own YouTube website, and he's going to talk about movies. He's going to talk about
probably
Andy's
doing open
movies.
mics and telling Woody how the set went.
He does a lot of unboxing videos with all the toys. There's a lot of unboxing. He's like, hey, it's Woody. What do we got here? Okay, ooh, a 1975.
You see this Buzz Lightyear figure, when you hit the button, he says to infinity and beyond.
And the wings come out. Oh, that's great. Oh, that works. Great.
All right, so a lot of votes for Incredibles 2 this year and for Toy Story 4 next year. I'm going to go against the grain a little bit, because I haven't seen The Incredibles 2 still.
What the hell is wrong with you?
The Incredibles, Tom, I'm a busy guy taking naps, listening to the podcast. So I'm going to say Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph Breaks the Internet is my favorite animated film thus far this year, although you're right, Into the Spider-Verse, something to keep your eye on as we get closer to December and Christmas time. For next year, obviously Toy Story 4 is something that I'm excited about because I think it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be great. Woody's going to get a girlfriend. That's going to be interesting. How to Train Your Dragon, certainly. Secret Life of Pets 2. Patton Oswalt stepping in for Louis C.K. He's going to be voicing the lead dog, so I like what they did there. But you also have the Lego Movie is coming back. So we get a new Lego Movie. I'm going to pin my hopes, because Secret Life of Pets I thought was a great concept, and the trailer was awesome. What do your pets do when you're not around? And it was okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give it to Secret Life of Pets 2. I'm going to give it to the Lego Movie as of right now. I want everything to be awesome once again. So those are the animated movies we're looking forward to. We love when y'all play along. So let us know in the chat, YouTube, tweet us. Let us know what your answers to all these questions that some of you posed to us in the last couple of weeks, in fact, are. We move on to our next questioner, and that is Jack Fryer. And he says, what would be better for the Star Wars character Bossk, the bounty hunter who was one of the job interviewees when you were looking for Han Solo and trying to bring him to the bounty hunter and then ultimately to Jabba the Hutt? What's the better fit for Bossk, a film or a TV series?
Oh.
Mark Riley, what do you got?
TV series. Yeah, I think the streaming service, the Disney Plus that we have announced now, we have a Cassian Andor series going in. Maybe Bossk can show up at that. I'm serious. We were before Rogue One now, so we're the building of the rebellion, and we have bounty hunters always in this world. He could even pop up in The Mandalorian. Who knows?
He's going to pop up in The Mandalorian.
I bet he will, but I think that character, because, again, when you're talking about these bounty hunters, there's, you don't want to put, I don't know, depending on your feelings about this, I don't know if they can work as like a main character, and especially Bossk, who's like going to be either CGI, if we're bringing back the character, CGI or practical effects. And I did it at the beginning. He goes, are you going to just hit subtitles, or like, how are you going to identify with this character? So I think if you put him as a supporting, a big baddie, a villain, something to make him really cool, because he looks cool, I think a streaming service show would be great.
What was the name of that documentary where it was about like backup singers that are so close to it's like 20 feet to stardom or something like that? That's the Bossk story.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Yeah.
You're right there, but you're just backing up the bounty hunters that are actually following in the movie. Roka, I'm going to split hairs here, and I'm going to say give Bossk a movie. Just give him a 90-minute, 2-hour rollicking adventure bounty hunter film, but put it on the Disney streaming service.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would work with that. I mean, if they're going to explore the stuff he did with Mace Windu, the relationship with Asajj Ventress, there's so many characters that he dances around, like you said, so many different characters he plays around and comes in contact with through his adventures. And do you make him a bungling bounty hunter? Do you make him a good bounty hunter? Do you make him like learning the craft as he goes along? Maybe he comes real close to dying in certain situations. You almost turn him into a kind of an anti-hero. And that would be fun to see in a movie like that, and explore, the Outer Rim, all these different, it's a good excuse to go to different planets, because obviously bounty hunters are going to go to more planets than, say, Luke Skywalker or anybody else, because they got multiple jobs in different galaxies and different systems.
Yeah,
they're freelancers.
They don't pay they pay their own health insurance. They don't have some sort of they probably don't pay their taxes ever. I know that we got some gentlemen steeped in Star Wars lore here. I'm pretty good with it, but Star Wars canon, is Bossk a good bounty hunter, or is he just kind of a hack? Like, I'll take the easy job. I don't know if he's good or not.
I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a reference in Solo when they're all sitting around the fire.
Yep.
And they mentioned something about running into Bossk and how I think were able to defeat him, or whatever it was. So that to me seems to say that he's a good bounty hunter. He can hang in there. Based on the comics before they were canon, they were legends. There was a great Shadows of the Empire run where it was all the bounty hunters trying to get Han Solo away from Boba Fett. He couldn't. He didn't get Han and just was like, oh, whew, that's easy. I'm going to deliver him to Jabba. Now these bounty hunters are coming to get him. Yeah. And Bossk was dangerous. He actually wounded Boba Fett and caused Slave One to have to crash land somewhere because his ship took it out.
All right, well, that's the key to Bossk. Could have been the best bounty hunter in the galaxy if he just could have put down the bottle.
Yeah.
All right, our next question comes from Lou Stools, and Lou says, do you think the next Avengers movie will have an end credit scene? Yeah, Lou, we do.
Yeah.
It's a great question. And his follow-up is, if so, what do you think will be in it? So I think we're all in agreement that Avengers is going to have some sort of post-credit scene.
Absolutely.
And this is a very hard question to ask. It's an easy one to speculate on, but a tough one to answer with any level of accuracy, because we have no idea what's going to happen in Avengers 4, thus necessitating what the post-credit scene would be. However, if I was to give an educated guess, I might say it would involve Spider-Man, because his movie is coming up next after Avengers 4. Yeah. John Roca, am I crazy here?
Yeah.
X-Men. You see?
Oh, I thought you were doing. I thought you were trying to do
I thought it was Wakanda. Yeah. I was like Black Panther. That makes sense.
Attempted the Wakanda.
No, Wakanda's like this, dog.
Yeah.
This is X.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, you know. So I would say
sure.
X-Men or Fantastic Four, something like that, because what do they do in 4 that causes the rays to occur while the ship is out in space, possibly Fantastic Four, causes the gamma rays to hit them and cause them to become the Fantastic Four? Or if you go X-Men, you can do really, really simple, where these newer Avengers, because it's in New York, the school for mutants, if they go,
New York.
it's in Westchester,
like
right?
Situation.
Yeah. So you could have the new Avengers, which is what I think we'll have by the end, the new Avengers at Avengers 4 in the post-credit scene go and visit Professor X or whoever is there, or they could just have him walking in to the Westchester school, and then you're like, that kind of stuff. So that's what I think.
Mark Riley, now I'm excited. about possibly an X-Men. Fantastic Four, I'm just like, it was never my thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't need them. I understand maybe wanting to inject some freshness and getting that property in there, but do you think that we could have an X-Men tease as early as May 4th, 2019 when the Avengers movie comes out?
I love it, but I don't think so. I think the deal is still being worked out. I don't think they have their ducks in a row yet for the X-Men. But maybe, never say never.
Yeah,
They could be, the deal for all intents and purposes has gone through, it seems. So maybe that has traveled over to Marvel and they go, okay, let's figure that out. I'm going to speculate and make my educated guess. And if we look at Steve Rogers and we look at Chris Evans' tweet, and I know a lot of people are wondering who's going to sacrifice, maybe die. A lot of eyes are on Captain America because Cap has died in the comics before, during that Civil War run. Maybe, so I'm kind of looking at that, the stakes of Avengers 4, if there's that time travel element or the Soul Stone, they're trapped in there, whatever, and it undoes some of the dust that we saw. Somebody's got to go to really have it hit home for those stakes. I'm looking at Cap, and the post-credit scene is either Bucky or Falcon picking up the shield.
Ooh,
and
nice.
we get our next Captain America.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have 3 good options. Luckily, Marvel never needs to stick to just one post-credit scene.
No, you might get
You can have 9 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week that the running time right now is sitting right at 3 hours, and I'm telling the Russo brothers, just stop editing. Stop editing. Put it all in there. That's
Yeah,
what
I
we want
want
to
it.
see.
Yeah.
I want it. I would love a 3-hour Avengers.
3-hour Avengers. So everybody
Give it
would
to
go
me.
see it. Just a matter of if we can get enough screenings so we can break all the box office records that we're sure the movie wants to do. Our next question is from Maggie Ledbetter, and it's one of my favorites here today. If you were transported into the world of any horror movie and could only return home if you survived the events / characters depicted in the plot, what movie would you pick, and what's your plan for survival? It's a great question, Maggie, and I'm going to turn it over to our resident horror movie enthusiast, Mark Yodi Riley. How are you surviving what horror movie? And again, I'm looking for the easiest road. I'm not looking for a challenge here. I want to be put into a horror movie and know that I can escape quickly, simply, easily. What do you got?
I think I'm going Scream. I think I'm going Scream because I can use my knowledge of horror movies to combat Ghostface.
In the first Scream, really?
Yeah, I would have gotten that right when they said, who's the killer in Friday the 13th? She goes, Jason, it's Jason. Nope, that was a trick question. It's his mother. He would have.
Sure you're still going to get killed.
Nope.
Sure
He would
that's
move
on
on.
Ghostface.
I would answer all the horror questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't think he'd
and he'd
keep
go, this is
answering.
not the guy.
You're relying on your movie trivia know-how.
Absolutely.
To get you out.
Absolutely, because then I would figure it out. I would do some research. I would get the usual suspects in order, but knowing that it is, meta and it's horror movie, I would be able to figure it out. Plus, I mean, come on, those guys that we realized who were at the end, I could take those guys. I could take the, Stu and Billy.
See, who did you think, the first time you were watching Scream, who did you think was the killer, like, halfway through?
Billy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't, they played it really beautifully, though, because you were like, yeah, that's him. He was, like, brooding. He was dark. He had at one point, the cell phone falls out of his pocket when he's with Sydney, and you're like, oh, that's him. And then they did that great reveal that it was 2 of them. But, and I think that was absolutely done on purpose. But I kept going, maybe it's him, maybe it's him, maybe it's him. But then when it was revealed to be both of them, I said, there's the twist that I like. So I was like half there.
Yeah, I
But
think
that was the filmmaker's point. That was Wes Craven's point. He wanted you to always be looking at Billy.
Right.
So that when that reveal comes that they're working together and there was 2 of them and the connection to the family history of Sydney, I think that was by design.
Fun movie to go back and rewatch, knowing what we know.
Yeah.
Now, I had my money on Tatum for a while when I was first watching it. And I was, I was in high school and was on the beach with my buddy's family because the Ellis family didn't go to the beach. So my buddy's family had a beach house. So we went just hung out with them for a week. Went to go see Scream. It was a great time. John Roca, who did you think was the killer in Scream? And what horror movie are you escaping?
I got to be honest with you. I've only seen it once.
What's wrong
When it
with
came out in the theaters. So I don't remember anything other than Drew Barrymore and the pop. popcorn on the oven.
So you left the film 5 minutes into it.
I thought Arquette was the killer. I thought Arquette was the killer. I thought Dewey had been playing this whole thing the whole time, and in the end would be like Verbal Kint.
The mastermind.
The mastermind, like Verbal Kint in Usual Suspects. But to answer the question, I would say Halloween. Going back to the basics. You know why? Guy ain't after me. He's after Laurie. So as long as I don't hang around with Laurie, I'm all right in this situation.
Yeah, but you don't know that until it's too late. Maybe you're a babysitter that's gainfully employed in Haddonfield, Illinois.
That's true. But, and please don't get upset at this, at least I get a little bit of action with some of the pretty ladies in the town, what you see in the movie. So maybe that would be all right, too.
You're that guy.
Is this wrong? We know how horror movies were.
This is what you know about Halloween.
Yeah.
Do not take a job babysitting that night.
Right.
Do not go over to your girlfriend's house if she's babysitting.
Well, she looks good.
Don't be Bob. Don't be Bob that gets stabbed and put on the wall.
That's true. I don't want to get put on the wall.
Yeah, apparently don't hang out with John Roca because he's taking virginities left and right.
Yeah.
It's a cardinal sin in a horror movie. Don't sleep with anyone.
These were people in relationships, I thought, but maybe
You're
not.
You're going into a horror movie and your whole plan is to hook up with someone. That's literally a recipe for disaster.
You're calling Jason Voorhees out on that one, too.
I'm saying if I'm going to get killed, at least I'll have I'll have sex with my girlfriend before it goes out. I'm gonna go out.
You're gonna go out swinging.
I'm gonna go out swinging, so to speak. But other than that, I would try to avoid Jason as much as possible. Look, I mean not Jason, Michael Myers as much as possible. Plus, he's got a Shatner mask, and I'm a good Star Trek fan, so that kind of stuff is interesting to watch. For me, that's it. I run around, all that kind of stuff. That would be great.
We'll be out there in a minute.
Let me handle. Hold on.
Roca's gonna go answer the door. And we're going to keep on trucking here. Okay, here's my answer. Is because Roca kind of took Halloween.
Yeah.
And I think Halloween's a very easy movie to survive because, again, Michael Myers, top speed with 3.5 miles per hour.
Yeah, he's not moving fast.
So what did we get in the mail, Roca?
It's up for Perry Nemiroff.
It's always Perry.
Wonderful.
Perry Rays and comic
the guy
she always finds her way.
Opens the mail slot, yelling at us.
I like it. I like it.
Well, that's not your mail. Do not open it. That's for Perry.
I wish I'd gotten stabbed. That would have been an awesome horror movie.
That was a horror movie situation there.
Very apropos. My answer is because you took Halloween. I'm taking It Follows.
Ooh,
because first of all,
you're hassling me about sleeping around in my film, but like that's all about sleeping around.
Yeah. If you know anything about my personal life, not doing a whole lot of sleeping around, and so I'm going to be good for a while. And then even after you do consummate a relationship, the person that is walking behind you that's going to kill you, once it's one person that locks in on you. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen the movie in a minute since I heard Joshua Hercules Makuga screaming about it.
I was with him. I just watched it.
You're walking, and the person again, they're not walking that fast.
Right.
So I'm confident enough in my athletic ability to outrun somebody who's just walking behind me.
Okay.
And it is going to take a lot of travel. Okay, so like if I do it out here in California, right?
Yeah.
I do the nasty with somebody, and then somebody starts following me, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna kill me. I get in my Ford Fusion, great gas mileage. I start driving east,
road trip,
and I don't have to worry about it, right? Because that person is just gonna keep walking on some weird highway. Here's my question: if I drive or I fly to Virginia, right, and I'm hanging out with my mom, does that person show up? What?
No.
90 days later?
No,
or is
another
it a different person.
Different person. You can escape and go to Virginia, and that person, that ghost will just give up and go somewhere else. Another ghost will find you.
All right, well, it's going to keep me in shape, going to keep that pulse up, going to keep that heart rate going, so it follows. I think the hardest horror movie to survive, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't touch Nightmare on Elm Street.
With how much I nap?
Yeah.
I'm screwed, man. There's no easy way out of Nightmare on Elm Street. I can't even remember how they kill Freddy in most of those movies, other than the Nightmare 6, the 3D one, they have to draw him out into the real. It just sounds like a hard time to actually kill the demon known as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it's tough to kill Freddy.
Yeah, you got to pull him out of the dream world into reality, like Nancy did in the first one, or you throw some holy water on the bones, bury him in hallowed ground, and like they did in part 3. That should get well. Then there was part 4, so that didn't work.
Works. That was just the Dream Warriors, and the Dream Master comes out.
Yeah, you can't really get rid of Freddy, man.
No, can't get rid of Freddy. Jason's hard one to get rid of. So I go Michael Myers. It follows. Probably Michael Myers is better person just to escape. So there you go. All right, Izzy Loreno is up next. And Izzy asks, in honor of Election Day last week, what is a great political movie? So we need a great political movie. And then Izzy follows it up saying, can I also play Words with Friends with you? If you can find me, you can play me. I'm kind of incognito right now because I gave out my previous handle on an episode of Movie Talk back in the AMC days, and I just got flooded with games, and I kept losing because I was timing out because I couldn't play everybody. It's a lot to play, so I have a small circle that I currently compete with. My mom usually kicks the crap out of me. Play with Perry Snyder occasionally when he wants to lose, and so if you can find me, you can play me.
All right.
Political movie. What's a great one?
Okay.
Ooh, well, I'm going The American President. I love that movie so much. Rob Reiner, Michael Douglas.
He's going to be playing Bossk.
Yeah, he's going to be playing Bossk. You know what I love about that movie, and I think it could really work. Like the politics of that, I think would be very interesting in today's society. A widow or a president starts dating somebody, and she's in her own politics, trying to push some bills forward or trying to push some movements forward through the president, and she goes under the microscope. He goes under the microscope, and because he's a widower, he's elected, right? Everybody took a little bit of pity on him, maybe. There's a little bit of that talk. Richard Dreyfuss plays a great,
Michael J. Fox is in that.
Michael J. Fox, but Dreyfuss is like the who's the vice president? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, he's the vice president.
Yeah, he's the vice president. But those politics are very interesting to think about putting them nowadays. It would be any kind of there would be just a mass accusations maybe what is he doing? Why is he with this lobbyist? Then her life would be under the microscope, which it was. I thought it was a very accurate portrayal of what could happen, and it's also a great romantic movie. It's a fantastic movie. I love it. It's one of my faves.
All right, so we get one vote for The American President. I'm going to take Dave. Because
Dave is great.
Dave, it's funny. It's well directed. It's well acted. I don't know how Dave would work in the current political landscape because if somebody else looks exactly like Trump, I'm not sure. Just because of the way Trump's face is, I'm not sure that because Dave wins everybody over. I'm not sure that if you look exactly like Trump, you're going to be able to win people who don't like you over because Trump just has that look. So, but at least he won't be dragging toilet paper on his shoe on Air Force One. John Roca.
Yeah. I like your choices. They're very nice, sweet, hold hand choices. I'm going to go. I would love to throw Syriana in this mix because it is a political film, but it is like an international political film. But I will go Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I will go home. That is a
great one.
Fantastic film for the 1930s, late 1930s. Frank Capra directing that one. Jimmy Stewart, incredible in that film. Claude Rains as well. This idea of what politics is actually like. What we're told when we're kids growing up in school and in high school, the idealism of politics. You get that in the Jimmy Stewart character, and you follow, because he's your protagonist, you follow him into the actual real world of politics and the pork barrel legislation and the stuff they add on and the deals you have to make and the pieces of your soul you have to sell for the greater good of what you're trying to do. That gets exposed in his relationship with Claude Rains. And I think that applies nowadays even more. There's still so much politics that gets involved when you get into the Senate and all those in the backhanded stuff, backhanded deals or backdoor deals rather they do. And those kinds of things are kind of scary. So you can explore all of that in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. But if you want to have a little more fun, I think Dr. Strangelove is a fantastically fun political film that makes fun of the Cold War, but also makes fun of how people act in war and how crazy both sides can be in different ways when war is on the horizon. And Peter Sellers, incredible. George C. Scott, incredible all through that film. And so those are the two that leap to mind initially.
There's no fighting here in the war room.
Sergey, you can't fight in the war room.
1939, going back to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Pretty good year for movies. Mr. Smith, Gone with the Wind, and of course The Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah,
also a great political movie. Kind of. I think the witch was in. So the wizard, it's like who's the wizard behind the curtain?
Right.
Right.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question comes to us from Jonathan Peck, and he says, "What canceled or abandoned project would you like to have seen?" So for Jonathan, he says he wanted to see Martin Scorsese's biopic that he was working on with Tom Hanks, and Christopher Nolan was going to do a Howard Hughes biopic starring Jim Carrey.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Two pretty good nominees there. Everybody always throws in the Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
You could even throw just what would George Lucas have done if he came back and just did episode 7 himself. So I'm not saying these movies would be better or worse than what we actually got or if we got anything. But John Roca, any canceled or abandoned movie project that you desperately need to see?
Yeah, it used to be the Vega brothers. The Quentin Tarantino was going to do with Vic and Vinny Vega.
Yeah.
It was going to be Travolta and Michael Madsen.
I would have loved that.
He had written a whole script. That thing was going to happen, and they just couldn't get it to go. And of course, people talk about George Miller's Justice League now in light of Mad Max Fury Road. But for me, the one that I most recently that I read about that just got me crazy is Darren Aronofsky's Samurai Wolverine with Christopher McQuarrie as the screenwriter for that. In my mind, the places that I go in my mind thinking about a Logan Wolverine samurai story, which is one of the greatest elements of the Logan story in the comics, to see that played out. We see the Western, obviously, in the Logan that was released from James Mangold, seeing the samurai version, which we got a little bit of in the second Wolverine movie, but it would have been great to explore it more with Miko and out there in the fields in Japan, that kind of thing, the time travel, all of that would have been very interesting, especially in Aronofsky's hands and with McQuarrie's words.
All right, Roca, taking us to the Elseworld of Logan/Wolverine. Mark Riley, how do you counter that?
Well, we've heard it a lot because of our dear friend John Schnepp, but I got to see Tim Burton's Superman Lives.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage
Great choice,
when Nicolas Cage was cast as Clark Kent Superman, I went, what the hell kind of drugs are you on right now, Tim Burton? I can't imagine. And then with Schnepp and Hawley producing this and getting all that footage and getting him in the suit. And this suit, like, it was a light bright kit that would, like, you know, I'm like, what is this? What can possibly be this movie? And, you know, Superman Lives. So we were going to get the Death of Superman storyline. What does Doomsday look like? What is this movie? I mean, it is fascinating to think that you have Tim Burton, who did Batman, and then he's coming in to do Superman, and he cast Nicolas Cage, which everybody said the same thing with Michael Keaton. It's like, why are you casting this guy as Batman? That is the worst casting I've ever seen. And then everybody now looks at him going, he's one of the best Batman. Maybe after Superman Lives, everybody go, he's one of the best Clark Kent Superman I've ever seen. That's what I got to see.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody involved with the Death of Superman Lives, what happened, and not the least of which is our dearly departed buddy, Mr. John Schnepp, the sweatiest of the sweaties, the king of them all. I would probably stick in the comic book world for The Sinister Six is a movie that I think a lot of people wanted to see. Batman Unchained, which was going to be the sequel. It was going to follow Batman and Robin. Like, Clooney was going to still be Batman. And I just want to see it because, like, how could you make a movie possibly worse than Batman and Robin? Maybe Batman Unchained would have taught us how. And if for no other saving grace, if it's called Batman Unchained, you know they're using the classic Van Halen song Unchained to kick that movie off. So I want to see Batman Unchained. How about this? Indiana Jones and the Saucer Men from Mars.
Yeah.
That's what George Lucas was originally kicking around, I think, before they settled on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which had alien tendencies. But let's just get Indy to Mars and just see what happens.
Holy crap! That's nonsense.
But I don't think it's nonsense, Riley. I don't think it's nonsense, and I'll say this because Indiana Jones was inspired by those 1940s serials, right? With Flash Gordon and those guys who were there, and Quartermain, all that from that time. So it would make sense for him to go to Mars.
The 50s sci-fi explosion of, like, the War of the Worlds and all these movies that came out that were, you know, really inspired by those serials, but then they put the sci-fi element, and it's always Martians coming down. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I haven't thought of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in a while. I try not to in my daily life.
God bless you. Yeah, you don't want to do it.
Am I mistaken? Because if I'm not, then I do like this tying in the lore of Raiders of the Lost Ark with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Is that so? We find out in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that the top men that are looking at the Ark and where the Ark is stored is actually turns out to be Area 51. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, the Ark was.
I think that's awesome.
You saw the Ark because they crashed one of the things. And as they're pulling away, there's that great, you know, pan up as he's driving away, and you see the Ark of the Covenant. And Williams plays that music.
I might go watch that movie again.
Don't do it. Just watch that scene.
No, just watch that scene.
I hate the monkey scene so much.
Oh, I hate it.
That was really the only scene that really totally bugged me.
What?
I like the snake scene. I thought that was cute. I like when Shia LaBeouf looks up and he finds out that he's not just this archaeology teacher, professor, that he's actually like a badass. I think that was a cool scene. So Might go back and watch.
You're an archaeologist? Part-time.
Part-time, yeah.
Let me encourage you to see Incredibles 2 before you freaking see Crystal Skull again. For God's sakes, Mark.
Okay, I love this question from Luis E. de la Pena, because we always talk about how in the old days, kids, before the YouTube, which you're currently enjoying us on, or you're listening to us on the podcast, we appreciate it either way. Before all this stuff existed, when a movie studio wanted to release a new trailer, they would be attached to a movie, and that was the way you could go see the trailer. So for instance, when I wanted to go see the trailer for Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Star Wars, it's coming back, I went to go see Meet Joe Black, and I went to go see Wing Commander. That's how I had to pay money to see those so I could see the trailer. So Luis asked us, could Marvel release the Avengers 4 trailer only in theaters to help push Mary Poppins Returns?
Oh.
Because I'm sure Mary Poppins Returns is going to do fine. Despite my personal feelings on her talents as a babysitter, I think that movie's going to do very well. It comes out around Christmas time. Perfect. Okay, but if you say that you can only, like, it's going to be on YouTube in like 3 weeks, but in the meantime, it's only going to be attached to Mary Poppins Returns, you'd see a spike in the box office, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you would. I think you absolutely would. It's a great idea. It's Disney.
Hire Luis. Get hired. The MCU should be hiring you, bud.
I think that's a perfect time to start the marketing campaign too. You get a little tease during Christmas because we're right up against the new year, and then you have 5 months to wait for the actual movie, and they can do the normal rollout. But I would love it if the teaser was like no title. Right, because a lot of people are wanting the title, and you just see maybe like flashes, you know, and it's like you hear the snap, and it's one flash, and then it's another, you know, just quick, like another one.
You got a good finger.
And then you know, at the very end it's bum 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 bum, and it's just the logo. It all ends.
Yeah.
Like, I got the trailer. You should actually hire me. I can do this. I can do this trailer.
I'm hiring Luis first.
All right,
Came up with the idea. You're
Luis,
just
you can hire
piggybacking
me
off
then.
it. Well, Luis maybe can consult with you unless John Roca has a better strategy.
Well, this is an interesting question because it doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't.
Mary Poppins is going to explode, regardless of what Mark Riley says. It's going, or Mark Ellis says. Mark Ellis says it's going to. It's tough doing a show with 2 marks.
Gotcha. It was Ellis.
In so many ways. In so many ways, 2 marks. But they say a lot of people. I've spoken to some people who were in Disney, internal in Disney, and they said Mary Poppins is incredible. That this film is going to just make so much money. So you don't need the trailer attached to it. But that being said, it would be a brilliant marketing strategy, Luis, to attach that, go a little old school and attach it and make it an event type of situation. People come flock to the theaters. And it would be interesting to see how many people would leave the theater after the trailer was done because they don't want to watch the Mary Poppins movie, but hey, Disney still gets your money, and they walk on out the theater and other people are left to watch the movie and enjoy that movie. But certainly something that would be possible. And it would make an excuse for all of us who have to cover this trailer to have tickets bought for us and go right into the theater and watch it.
Perfect.
Don't you think?
I worry about pirating because it's so easy to pirate stuff now. It would leak online, and I don't think that they want the bulk of people who are experiencing this trailer for the very first time to see cell phone footage that gets uploaded to YouTube. And it would I think it would be a headache for Disney. I don't think that Mary Poppins needs it. If it was something like the Nutcracker and the Four Realms where you're starting to worry about box office, maybe that's a way to sweeten the pot. But I think Mary Poppins is going to be fine anyway. And you also have the Captain Marvel issue where you want to lean into Captain Marvel before you lean into Avengers. But as we talked about last week, they managed to have Avengers and Infinity War teasing us with it. At the same time, they were having trailers for Black Panther. So it can be done. It's a marketing strategy I'm sure they're talking about. But I love the idea, Luis. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, then I'm probably going to pay money to go see Mary Poppins Returns.
There it is.
Don't you feel we're getting close? Don't you think we're getting close for a trailer?
I mean, look.
We're in November, for God's sake.
When we talked about it last week on the show, I know you guys watched. We were speculating because the Russo brothers, I think it was Joe Russo who said that, you may or may not see some sort of material before 2019. And then the entire fandom reminded me after the show that Kevin Feige already said that you're probably going to see a trailer. Like, okay. But again, people go back and forth on their word all the time. They're just starting the visual effects right now. So that's really the key.
Right.
But I know for a fact that MCU and Star Wars and DC and all these, they always have, it's not just their trying to hit the release date of May 4th. They're trying to hit a trailer date. They have, hey, we want to get this trailer in by Mary Poppins or whatever.
Right.
So work on this scene or this series of sequences first. Get those visual effects tightened up so we can start selling this movie. So
Yeah.
very interesting Christmas. And also Bumblebee comes out. Huh?
Hey, can't wait for
All right.
that, actually.
Let's do a few more, and then we will call it a day. I like this question from L. Palmer. They asked, do you think that studios like Disney, as they get into the streaming business, with Disney having their own streaming service in 2019, that they'll skip putting their films at places like HBO and Showtime in favor of the streaming service after the theatrical release? It's a great question, and it blew my mind that I hadn't considered this before, that HBO and Showtime and Skinamax and all of these places are going to start to get nervous because what's going to land on their channels if you're not going to have the MCU, you're not going to have Star Wars, or maybe the DC streaming service is going to take all the DCU movies. What movies are going to be left?
Yeah.
So it's smart of somebody like HBO and even Showtime and Cinemax. They're getting into original programming because that might be the bulk of what we see going forward. Jeff.
Yeah, I think that's the smart move at this point. And we already see them doing it. I mean, we see Netflix, Disney pulling their stuff off Netflix. So people want to own their content, right? We over the last few years, if you know anybody in the industry who works in sitcoms or TV shows there, the networks, CBS and ABC and NBC, they don't want to farm out their shows anymore to other production companies because it splits the profits. They don't make as much money. When they own a show, they can have faith in the show to last longer for more seasons so they can recoup that syndication money. So it's all about now owning the content, your content, deciding where it gets distributed and recouping as much of the profit as possible. So that makes the most sense to me. Everything is changing. Everything is changing. Streaming, Netflix is absolutely a nuclear bomb into this industry, and you see all these studios from Amazon all the way up to the big ones scrambling to catch up and figure out what to do with their content. Now DC streaming service, Disney streaming service, all this stuff, that's all in retaliation of Netflix. So yeah, they're going to grab their stuff up and put it there and make you come to it.
Yeah, Mark Riley, is HBO going to have to change their name? Because HBO stands for Home Box Office.
Yeah.
So if it's like, hey, it's your home, but it's like the movies that were at the box office. No longer going to be that, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we're watching the biggest hit to our wallets is going to be these streaming services because everybody's going to start to branch off, and you're going to have to get Disney to see Disney films. You're going to have to get like a Warner Brothers DC universe, and then you're going to get what about the Warner Brothers releases?
Right.
Where is that going to go? Maybe that's Time Warner, maybe that's HBO, so they'll land on HBO. Then we have Amazon, Netflix, which has their original movies that they're doing and their original TV shows. But we're seeing American Vandal gets canceled. That's a CBS-owned property. That might go to the CBS streaming. There's going to be so many streaming services, but buy cable.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy cable anymore. It's going to be internet packages, so you can get all these streaming services. And then because I have PlayStation View now, and so you can get live TV on that, buy cable. I got rid of Spectrum. Good riddance. But what do we know about Disney? They just bought Fox.
Yeah.
They are going to corner the market as much as they can, and all of their movies are only going to be on Disney streaming. I don't know how long it'll take, if there's some deals that they have out there, but they are making this move right now that if you want to see Mary Poppins Returns, Avengers Infinity War, Episode 8, what have you, you're going to have to go there. That's just the way this market is going. Pretty much what you said, Broca.
Yeah, you know, HBO and Skinamax and the movie channel, those used to be our essential streaming services, right? Because they also came up with original content, TV shows, whatever, and then they would pay to have these movies come on. So Netflix is not doing anything that hasn't already been before, but they are just a wider expanse with multiple studios films being able to be in the streaming services. So now when they make these moves, all these streaming services make these moves, you make a great point, Mark. What's going to happen, HBO? What's going to happen? They're going to have to maybe either fold or drop their price or really hire people to create new original content, new original movies. And HBO used to be known for their movies, you know, for their documentaries. Showtime is slowly kind of catching up with their documentaries, not necessarily their movies. So it's a motivation factor, and there's enough talented people in this town and in this country, world, to be able to do that.
Yeah, as HBO, it's the times they are changing, as a wise man once said. So we'll see if HBO stays on Maggie's farm or if it gets onto Positively 4th Street. Running out of Bob Dylan songs here. Let's do a few quick ones, then we will call it a day. I love this question because I don't know the answer to it. Run, jump, squat. Have you ever made or watched fan edit movies? And have you seen one that has altered the tone? Because Run Jump Squat says he's seen fun and interesting edits that have changed the feel, tone, and altered the film entirely. One that I have not caught, but I heard totally changes the way you'll perceive the movie is a fan edit of Rocky V.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
They were able to somehow maneuver around in Rocky V and make Rocky V a really watchable, great film. So that's what I've heard. Topher Grace, I think, was famous. My doppelganger was famous for commissioning or doing one himself, a fan edit of Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I heard is really good. So they're out there. What do y'all got?
Yeah, that's the one I actually saw parts of. Was the Phantom edit? Was that Topher Grace? It might have been. Yeah, but I remember.
I'm sure a bunch of people have done it.
Yeah, I've heard rumor. I haven't seen a lot of them. Actually, none. I think I just bits and pieces. So I know they removed Jar Jar completely.
Yeah.
And then there was one version where instead of like Newt Gunray like speaking this weird English, whatever that was, they put alien voices on it and subtitles, which kind of felt more Star Wars to me. So I would say the Phantom edit is the most I've seen.
Yeah, the Phantom edit is great. I've seen it. I saw it. We had to talk about it. I think I can't remember what show, but I remember enjoying it. I was being surprised by it. This Rocky V thing excites me. Now I
Check it out. Yeah, there's like a whole documentary about the stuff. So as we get excited for Creed 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Worth it.
Well, I'd love to see a Godfather Part 3 film fan edit where you remove pretty much most of Sofia Coppola's scenes and make it work without her necessarily.
Of course.
And see how you could do it. Or maybe even have someone come in and dub her scenes over.
Oh, boy.
That would be interesting too.
Jeez.
No, listen.
Brutal. That's harsh.
Listen, Sofia's a fantastic director. There's no doubt about that. But she is the reason that movie sucks. And you know, but the other scenes with Garcia and with Pacino are incredible. So for me, it's like, well, that's the adjustments you can make and make a fan edit of that possibly. Rocky V, same thing. Tommy Morrison is the reason that movie kind of sucks. So
Yeah,
you want
there's a lot of reasons.
you want to move it around. Well, sure, but you want to move it around and try and make it work in that way. And Phantom edit, Jar Jar Binks. There's a reason a lot of people hate that damn movie. I wonder if we'll get some fan edits for for Jedi, for Solo, for Force Awakens. I wonder if we'll get those that kind of adjust the tone of the movie and what have you. We see this already with Christian stuff, Christian edits of films where they take out all the cuss words and take out all the uncomfortable scenes. So people do want to edit these films to make them work in a certain way.
All right, well, we're going to do one quick one. I just want your answer. You don't need to defend it. This comes from Angus Yen. He says, what's a movie you would want your significant other to have seen at least once? Both you gentlemen currently treading the waters of relationships.
Yeah.
So what's a movie that you need your significant other to have seen at least one time?
Star Wars.
Wow.
Okay.
Which one?
The original.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Hope. Got to see New Hope.
Got to see New Hope because you'll get into it.
Okay.
So
Which one do you
Look,
think?
what do you want me to say? I don't know.
Shatner.
Like relationship-wise, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
It doesn't have to be a relationship movie.
Well, you
John.
just said relationship.
No, it's your significant other.
Yeah.
Like what movie is going to be very tough to live with this person for the rest of your life if they have never seen this film?
Oh, that's a good
So that's why he
question.
took A New Hope.
That's a good
I would
question.
probably
Okay.
take Back to the Future.
Okay.
That's a great
I need
one.
you to see Back to the
That's
Future.
a great one. Yeah.
Oh, I'm the fuddy-duddy on the panel. I would say The Godfather.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the number. Why are you looking at me like that?
You need your significant other to see The Godfather.
Oh, I see.
You know,
Back to the
I can
Future.
I can stand by that because Julie hasn't seen Godfather, I don't think, and I keep trying to get her to watch it with me. She goes, "I've seen it." And I go, "Have you, babe?
Yeah.
Have you?"
Wow.
My girl
Have
won
you?
me over when she said she'd seen 1 and 2 and enjoyed them.
Oh, well, there you are.
All right. Well,
So there.
there you go. Okay. So The Godfather, A New Hope, and
Such
Back
an
to
angry
the Future.
elf.
These are 3 pretty good choices. And we close out with this one from Dustin Palooza. And there's a reason why I saved it for last. Here you go, Dustin. How would you feel about an R-rated Cat in the Hat remake with Eric Andre as the cat? I'm in.
No.
Sign me up.
No.
Totally in. I think Eric Andre would be a great R-rated Cat in the Hat. And if we can't get Eric Andre, I would probably put Zach Galifianakis in there.
Yeah, I'm in for that one. Keep the same costume design and the effect of Cat in the Hat that Mike Myers was, because that is a creepy MFer.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, really?
It's awful.
It's weird.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
It's
So an
unsettling.
R-rated version would be great.
Okay.
It would be
All right.
great.
All right, maybe an R-rated version of
Yeah, it'd be
with Eric. All
hysterical.
right, because Eric Andre's show is uncomfortably.
It's
uncomfortable.
His show is
unsettling.
so perfectly Cat in the Hat. Eric Andre's buddy's fantastic comedian, so I think he's got the perfect sense of humor. But it's not just he's like weird and wacky. It's also like he can be a leader.
Yeah,
he can because the cat is almost like a cultish figure. We're just going to tell the kids what to do, and the kids just do it.
Yeah,
you got a goldfish swimming around telling you not to, but who listens to a goldfish?
Who's thing 1 and thing 2 in that?
Maybe Galifianakis could be thing 1,
right?
And then thing 2,
John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell.
No, I'm going Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Oh,
that's good.
Yeah,
damn, that's good.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Yeah.
What about Tina Fey and Amy Poehler?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Right?
I like that.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
All right. What about Emilio Estevez and Kiefer Sutherland? Well, we're going to call it a day here. Thank you guys for tuning in on this very special episode of Collider Movie Talk. And once again, a shout out, a thank you to all of our veterans out there. If you're watching here, if you're watching abroad, we appreciate all of your support, and we support you in each and everything that you do. Thank you for all that you do for this country. Mark Riley, where can all the kids find you?
You can find me at Riley Round on Twitter and Instagram, and the Riley Roundtable. Every Thursday it drops. Check out the latest one. Roca and me, we talk Avengers 4.
And a veteran himself, John Roca. Thank you for your service. Where can everybody find you and give you your proper due and applause?
It's always been my honor to serve this country, so thank you so much for saying that. And I will say, once again, thanks for going over there and entertaining the troops, Mark. That's something that you can't even put a value on, so it's incredible that you did that. You can find me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And I want to throw a shout out to Jason Inman at Jawin. Please follow him. He's doing a comic book drive for veterans, sending comic books to veterans overseas. It really helped him when he was there serving, and so it's a good program there. So get involved. It goes all through November at Jawin, Jawiin. Send some comic books. I know you've got some.
All right, and as we throw it to the wide, Roca, I got to say this because you are a veteran. Get down and give me 10 right now. Get down there. Give me 10 push-ups.
All right.
Right there in the corner.
I like
Probably not going to be able to see it. Get down there.
Here.
Push-ups. There you go. There you go.
No.
Oh,
Don't break the set.
Oh, boy. All right, you know what? We'll just say goodbye.
Yeah,
We'll tell you how we did.
He's doing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, everybody. Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.